Alright, so we are going to be looking at a lot of equations and what to do with equations and what do they mean, and looking at the structure of algebra through this chapter. So what we're going to look at today is a method for solving equations, that's factoring. And you look at this and you say, okay, yeah, I know factoring. It's got to equal 0. If I'm going to factor and have it be useful to me in solving, it's got to be 0. I know that, Mr. Schnack. No big deal. I can do that. Well, okay, great. How about if we look at this equation? And before you freak out, notice that this is really just factored. And it is equal to 0. So since it's factored already and equal to 0, what that means is that we can set each factor equal to 0. So e to the x equals 0. Or natural log x minus 1 equals 0. Or 2x minus 1 equals 0. And I have three little equations that I can solve now. Alright, so e to what power is 0? Well, nothing. We can't raise e to a power and get 0. So this one gives us no solutions. Nothing to worry about there. This one, we add 1 to both sides. Natural log x equals 1. To solve a logarithm, to get x out of there, we change to exponential form. This is log base e. E to the first equals x, so x could be e. Or we add 1. 2x equals 1. Divide by 2. X is equal to 1/2. So there are two solutions to this equation. X could be 1/2, and this big nasty left-hand side of the equation equals 0. Or if x is e, the left-hand side of this big nasty equation equals 0. One thing to remember, we can't take logs of negative numbers, so if we would have gotten negative 1/2, that would create a problem right here in the second factor, and we would reject this last solution. Let's look at another equation. X cubed equals x. Now you might be tempted here to say, okay, there's x's on both sides. I'm going to divide by x. And I'm going to get x squared equals 1. And square root x equals plus minus 1. But unfortunately, we've only gotten 2 of 3 answers. Because this is x cubed, we should be thinking that there are 3 solutions to this equation. What we should do is rewrite it as x cubed minus x equals 0. And then factor. Both terms have an x, I can pull that out. Now we have a difference of squares, I can factor a little bit more. So either x equals 0, x equals negative 1, or x equals positive 1. 3 solutions. A general rule of thumb is anytime you're tempted to divide by x because it shows up on both sides, don't do it. Don't divide by x because oftentimes you're going to lose one of the solutions. You need to rearrange the equation so it's equal to 0, and then we can factorize and solve what we've got. So just some basic factoring strategy in this section. You're going to see a variety of questions, some of them big and scary, some of them not so big and scary. Get them equal to 0, get it factored, and then set each factor equal to 0. That's the null factor law, also known as the zero product property.